In this video, I want to talk to you about the Janome Skyline series. Janome has a unique series here in the Skyline with 5 models that they're showing currently. We have the S3, the S5, the S6, S7, and the S9. Each one has its own thing to offer. So in this video, we want to give you just the major feature difference in them. We've had a lot of customers call and ask, what are the differences in them? Because they look basically identical. So we're going to show you everything about these machines in just a good brief overview. The first model in the Skyline series is the Skyline S3. Now the S3 is going to give us about 120 sewing and utility and quilting stitches. It's got the most popular stitches built in on it. It's going to have alphabets for doing your quilt tags, your garment tags, quilt labels. We'll have the automatic tension. Does have the channel threading all the way to the needle with the built-in needle threader. The Skyline series, what separates it from a lot of the brands on the market is these machines are a little bit bigger than your standard sewing machine. You have more throat space to work with. Here I have from the needle to the inside of my sewing arm on all of them is 8 1/4 inches. Your average machine is about 5 inches. So you're going to have a little bit more room to work with to roll your finished product up your quilt. Just having more room at your sewing bed to support the material is a big plus. On the bed of all these machines is a ruler so you can kind of get a seam allowance, as well as all the throat plates have markings on them to help you get seam allowances. Plus you can screw in a seam gauge into the machine the way the needle plate's made, and we do carry all the optional accessories for all the Skyline. Your major differences, the S3, there's no difference in quality from it to the top of line S9. Janome does not skimp on the quality. It has good solid motors, good working components. We rarely have problems out of any of the Skyline series. This machine does a maximum 7 millimeters width. The widest you can get on any machine is a 9 millimeter. So the Skyline S7 is going to give us all the nice features of the upper models, but it's a little bit scaled down when it comes to the stitch width. It will take a whole different series of presser feet. Most of the Janome models on the market will have the 7 millimeter presser feet. You got the removable accessory tray. The arms on these machines are a little bit bigger as well, a little bit longer than a standard sewing machine. On this machine we have 2 screws to take our needle plate out, and the accessory tray, it folds out. We can easily get to all of our accessories the way that accessory tray is made. We got the override on our speed if we want to override that foot control and slow or speed the machine up. I do have the built-in scissor, needle up, needle down. I have the auto lock feature. I do have reverse, and I do have the start stop button. So if I don't want to use the foot control, I can hit that start stop button and I'm ready to go. Some people get used to using that. Of course, most of us are used to using traditional foot control. It will have a standard size foot control that you've seen on most of the Janome models. Now the S3 will give us about 120 stitches. This machine can easily handle 8 layers of denim all the way down to sheer materials. We do have a more detailed video on the product page for the S3, so do check that out. It is very portable with the carrying handle here. I can easily see on the LCD screen what stitch I'm on. The machine will recommend the correct presser foot for the stitch that I have pulled up on my placard here. I can just push in the button and pull it up on my placard. My width and length setting is right here handy. Mirror imaging, all that is just right here handy for me, so I don't have to push a lot of buttons to get to where I'm wanting to go. But as you're looking at these pictures and you go to the website looking at the images, pay attention to a few minor details, and this is what's going to separate S3 from other models. So as we move up to the S5 is the first model in the Janome line that offers the 9 millimeter width stitch. That is the widest you can get on any sewing machine that's made. This machine has a whole different series of presser feet as well. So as I'm moving up that line, I have all the feet like the top of the line machine, with the exception of the walking foot. Now this one will use a traditional walking foot, and we'll show you an image of that, something you've probably already seen before, but that's going to be one difference than moving up to the next models. Here we get even more stitches. We're right at a little bit less than 200 stitches on this machine. On my needle plate, I do have no screws here, so there's one button I push right here and it pops my needle plate out. There's sensors built into the machine, lets me know what needle plate I have on the machine. That's going to be a big feature as well. So 9mm and having the needle plate like it is, those are our big features. Now the machine will have the automatic tension setting. We can override that. Even more stitches on this model compared to the S3. I will have all my computer controls. There's a few more computer controls on the S5 because it does more. It's got more stitches on it. Having the sensor for the needle plate, that's a big thing there. We do have the ability when we have the straight stitch plate on to easily pull up certain stitches with seam allowances. The more popular, like the 1/4 inch seam allowance, we can push a button and it moves the needle bar over for me to achieve that 1/4 inch. You can achieve that on the S3 or any of the other ones just by moving our stitch width bar when we have the machine in straight stitch only. We'll get the scissor, needle up, needle down, the auto lock. I do have reverse, and I have the start stop button. We have the LED lighting on both, but if you'll notice here I have one extra light behind the button here for start stop. There's not one on the S3. That's another little subtle difference that you'll find on the machine. It's nothing major. Another major feature though is we get the knee lift. The S3 does not have the knee lift. We do have that on the S5. So S5 is the first model with 9mm width. We're going to have the sensors in the needle plate. Let me know what needle plate I have on it. There's a few more stitches on the S5 and they're very useful. It's not just decorative and that's all, or more alphabets. Janome's added very useful stitches in the utility and quilting and the decorative sewing on the S5. Now, going up to the S6. The S6 gives us even more capabilities than the previous two models. The S6 will have the 9mm width stitch, the automatic tension. We can override the tension if we want to. There's even more stitches on it. We're right at 200 stitches on the S6. Very useful. They've added more applique, heirloom, and garment construction stitches. On the S6, we do have the scissor, needle up, needle down, the auto lock, reverse, and our start stop. Still have the LED lighting. We also have the sensors into the needle plate, so I know what needle plate I have on. The machine's not going to let me sew a zigzag when I have my straight stitch needle plate on. I have the buttons where I can easily move over for my seam allowances. But the S6 is going to be the first model that gives us this attachment right here. And this is called the AccuFeed system, or you can refer to it as the AccuFeed walking foot. This is, from this point on, you will get this with these machines standard. This is the top of the line system. It's a more precise walking foot system because now I can adjust my width and length, though you can on the other ones, in tenths of a millimeter. So it's more precise. When I want to have and achieve walking foot capability, maybe I'm doing a quilt, or you're working with a thicker piece of material or spongy, maybe a fabric that has a slick coating, and you need extra feeding capability, you want to use this AccuFeed system. Now, another thing about the AccuFeed system that separates it from a lot of the brands that's on the market is I can take the soles off of this. Now I have more different presser feed that will interchange with this AccuFeed system. There's an open toe, a 1/4 inch, a stitch in the ditch, a zipper. I have all those to my capability, and Ken Sewing carries all the optional soles for the AccuFeed system. So the S6 will be the first model in the Janome line that features and gives you the AccuFeed system. All these machines are very affordable. You're getting top of the line quality with all these machines. So the S6 will give us a few more stitches, that AccuFeed system, and all the other features that you've seen on the S5. As we move on up to the S7, this machine has a few other things on it that you won't get on any of the other ones. The S7 is going to give me all the same computer capabilities. You'll notice our screen here from the standard LCD screens you see on the 6, the 5, and the 3. Notice on the S7 now I have a full color screen. I can do more with this machine. I can see a lot more on the machine. The S7 will show me on screen when I change my stitch width and my stitch length, the actual size of the stitch that I'm working with. So there's no more worrying about having to do test runs on fabric to see how that's going to look before I sew it out. That is a nice feature to have on any sewing machine, and you'll get that on the S7. The S7 gives us over almost 250, right at 240 stitches on it. Even more useful quilting, garment construction, heirloom sewing. You have alphabets built in. It does have the needle plate with the sensors on it, so I know what needle plate I have on the machine at every given time. I do have the knee lift. It will use the AccuFeed walking foot system. Now, another subtle difference going to the S7, besides the screen, and now I have the ability to raise and lower my pressure foot just by touching a button. This is nice to have if I'm at the end of a seam and I want to turn a corner, because I can have my needle in the fabric, push that button, raise my pressure foot, and then I can turn the corner. If you're doing applique work, this is really nice to have. Not having to go around behind the machine to raise and lower the pressure foot like you do on a traditional machine. This is the first model that's going to give us that capability of raising and lowering the pressure foot for doing our pivots. Still get the scissor, needle up, needle down, auto lock, reverse, and our start stop button. Full illumination. There's a lot more accessories that will come with the S7 than previous models. So you're going to get the total package. Now, another subtle difference, which can be a major difference if this is something that interests you, with the S7 I can create my own stitch. We have the ability, there's a USB port built on the side of the machine. It will come with a stitch editor program. And this program is easily used on your home PC, and you're able to plot out points. So if you wanted to create your own quilt and make it look like you did it by hand and have the stitches irregular, or maybe you don't like the stitches on it, or you're doing a certain project and you want the stitch to look a little bit different, you can create your own stitch, send it into the machine, and then you can sew that out in the stitch width and length that you want to do, because you're the one creating it. This is the first model in the Janome line in the Skyline series that gives us the ability to plot out our own stitches and make those. The S7 is a machine that has even more accessories that will come with it, and Ken Sewing carries all the optional accessories that goes with any of these machines. Now, going from the S7 to the S9, the S9 is the top of the line in the Skyline series. You're going to notice a few other things on this machine that you can't get on any of the other. First, we still do have the bigger, it's actually a little bit bigger, more color scheme, because this machine does not only sewing, but it does the full elaborate embroidery. You will get the embroidery unit, the embroidery hoops included with the S9 to do the elaborate embroidery designs, plus you're going to be able to do all the quilting, all the sewing, all the garment construction that all the previous models can do. The S9 has even more sewing, utility, heirloom, decorative stitches built in. This machine has a tapering feature that'll taper that stitch off at the end. On the needle plate, I do have the sensors on it, but there's even more capability of moving the needle over for doing certain seam allowances. Now the S9, when I go into embroidery mode and I have the embroidery unit connected, I do have the ability, and it's Wi-Fi ready. I can connect this to my home router. I can have a design in the Janome format that fits within the embroidery hoop, and I can send that wirelessly from my computer to the machine. So at that point, I don't have to worry about saving things to USB sticks. If I just want to zip it right in there, I'm able to do that with no problem whatsoever. You're also going to get the same AccuFeed walking foot, comes with the S9. So the S9 is the top of the line in the series. I get all the other computer controls that you've seen on the other machines with the scissor. I do have a way to raise and lower my pressure foot for doing those pivots, the needle up, needle down, the auto lock, reverse, and my start stop. You're going to get even more accessories with the S9. So on all these machines that we've shown you here, we do have detailed instructional videos giving you even more highlights on how the machine operates, close-ups on the screen so you can see a little bit better than in this video, just comparing the models. Now, Ken Sewing Center is your authorized Janome dealer. We've been a Janome dealer over 50 years. We're one of the largest in the country. We have 4 full-time technicians here to help you, and several educators any given time to help you with any kind of question you have. Any Skyline machine you purchase from us, you have our premium support package included free of charge. And what that means is you can pick up the phone, give us a call, be sitting in front of your machine. We can talk you through things over the phone. We're not just an internet company. We've had a retail store a lot longer than we've been online. We can walk out in front of a machine, talk you through things, show you what button you need to push to get to where you want to go. If you feel like you're having a problem, we got you covered. Our turnaround time is extremely fast because we have even more technicians to serve you. We will carry all the optional accessories for these machines, and when you call in, we're going to help you find what you need. So do not hesitate. Check out all these models on our website. If you need more information, reach out by phone, drop us an email. We'll be glad to help you anytime.